The Arab-Israeli conflict is nothing new. The peace treaty that was signed today has ended the latest incarnation of that conflict, but the conflict will go on. There will be more of this in the future, make no mistake about it. Now, granted, this whole thing goes way beyond this. It's been going on for a very long time, before just about anyone watching this was even born. Believe it or not, it did not start in 1948 with the Israeli War of Independence. It started in the 20s, if not before that. There were Zionists in what was the British Mandate of Palestine fighting with the Arabs. That being said, is the current conflict is like, you could argue that maybe there needs to be some understanding here. Is that Israel has slowly but surely been inching its way into the West Bank and into the Gaza Strip. Granted, they could very easily go on a genocidal rampage and wipe all the Palestinians out, but they don't do that. Why don't they do that? Well, that's debatable. It's you could argue that it's a humanitarian thing, or they're too afraid of the world's reaction. Either way, they're not doing it. Granted, Israel is probably the closest thing to Nazi Germany that anyone could get. They have these purity laws, like saying that only Jews can get certain citizenship, and they encourage Jews to return to Israel, even though many of them have never been there or even set foot in the Middle East. That being said, Hitler said the same thing. I mean, it's like if you are German, and even if you haven't been here, like you live wherever, you should just come back to Germany. And there's even this ideology called Kahanism, made up by a guy called Mira Kahana, which basically it's basically Nazism with the idea of Jews as a master race. Now, there are grievances here. Like, back in the day, if a guy's the IDF would bulldoze people's homes if a family member launched a suicide attack or something like that. This, but then again, if you look at in the Old Testament or the Torah, whatever you want to call it, collective punishment is a pretty big theme, and it only makes sense that they would that they would view it that way, as collective punishment is a good thing. But remember how I mentioned Nazi Germany earlier? They have destroyed, Israel is a very small country, and they have destroyed Palestinian homes to make way for Israelis. Sounds kind of like, what was it called? What did Hitler call it? Mein Kampf. Wasn't it Lebensraum or something like that? Living space, as it translates. Like he wanted to just go east and wipe out all the Slavs or enslave them, and turn it into one big colony. And granted, to be fair, during the time of the Six-Day War and the Yom Kippur War, the goal of the Arab alliances was really quite simple. They would have, if they had won, there would have been another Holocaust, especially that first time around, because Nasser was was just boasting about what he was going to do. I mean, he the only thing that would have stopped him would be if he had beaten the IDF in the 6-Day War, would be if international intervention, or if he ran out of bullets. And Golda Meir said, the Israelis have one advantage, that they can't run. They have nowhere to run because there's nowhere they can go. They are literally backed into a corner. And I understand how that can cause some stress. I would be pretty stressed out too if I was backed into a corner. Hell, I have been backed into a corner, and it's not a pleasant experience. Anyway, it's just, I really, really think that it's like we really have to keep things working here, because we might want to look into, like, Jimmy Carter, for example. People shit on him for his soft handling of Iran. However, he did manage to secure a peace treaty between Israel and Egypt, and something that was monumental at the time. I mean, considered impossible. Hell, Jordan and Israel seem to be getting along now. And what's really, really, really needs to happen is, this is not going to be easy. It's going to take years, if not decades, to resolve this. And but we got to work at it piece by piece by piece. What we need to do is, instead of but as far as like my solution to the whole thing, and this is going to take decades, try to humanize each other. Like, don't talk about how we're different, talk about how we're alike. And it's like, I know I'm going to probably sound like too much like Jocko Willink here, but remember, the Christmas truce happened in the First World War, on the Western Front. I mean, they were just slaughtering each other in much greater numbers than in any of the wars in the Arab-Israeli conflict. It was just a freaking bloodbath. But they had the Christmas truce, and the only reason they started fighting again was because the guys up top, at the very top, told them to. But think about that. Millions of people died just because a few people said, go fight them. And why do you hate them? Answer me that. Why do you hate each other? Just, regardless of if you're an Israeli and you're a soldier or a policeman, please remember that you're looking at a person regardless of what they are. I mean, if you're looking at a civilian, a protester, a rioter, or even a militant, remember, they are a person. And if you're Palestinian and you're looking at an Israeli policeman, soldier, or civilian, remember that they're a person. And you might, if you sat down with them, you might find out you have more in common than you originally thought. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be good, y'all. And peace. I really do mean that.